Hello and welcome into Tuesday. It's the 29th of November. 2 more days in November, and then we turn the page. I'm a little late getting this podcast posted because I have just been pushing it at both ends, and I needed to sleep in a little bit today. So I apologize for those of you who like to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast and have this ready. I apologize. All right, so here's the first, well, really just a couple of things today in the sky at that. First of all, we have a super long void of course, 17 hours, 22 minutes. The moon went void of course shortly before 2 a.m., and it moves into Pisces at 7:15 this evening. So, I guess this was a good day to sleep in anyway. Because technically, void of course moon would have been interpreted as, it doesn't matter what we do here today anyway, right? No, that's not true. I don't follow the void of courses that closely, but I have heard from some of you who do, and you say that it makes a big difference. So there you go, big long one today. And speaking of that, some of you contacted me yesterday and even the day before saying, what about this wonky energy? Yeah, it was pretty wonky over the last couple of days. I could feel it strongly, and we'll see how today settles in. The other thing that I track, because it does affect my heart, I'm completely convinced of this, are the solar flares, and they are strong through tomorrow. And fortunately, tomorrow we have a fairly light day in the sky. So those of you who are sensitive to these little minutiae in the energy will get a little break from the heavens tomorrow, but not a break from the solar flares. 2 other aspects today, they both involve Mercury. 3:30 this afternoon, Mercury opposes Mars in retrograde in Gemini. That's been the one that we have really kept our eye on. Still at that degree we were yesterday, 19 degrees for Mars, and Mercury will be there as well this afternoon at 3:30. Actually, as that aspect was getting closer, that probably contributed to some of that tension that we were feeling yesterday. I felt it clearly. And then I had several people tell me the same thing. So yes, with Mercury in fiery Sagittarius, up applying to Mars, then definitely that could have brought some of that tension. And then the other one is way late tonight. Mercury sextiles Saturn at 11:15 this evening. These times are all Eastern. Now, what about the volcano too, right? The volcano in Hawaii. And this continues to be interesting because there's an article on Astro.com that's very well written talking about natural disasters and astrology. And the summation of it is, for today's chart, we would look back to exactly what we talked about yesterday, the previous lunar eclipse, which was at 16 degrees Gemini. The other planets that we would take a look at related to it would be Pluto, and then to a degree Uranus, and then to a degree Neptune. The thing I think that is also significant is an earthquake just doesn't one day get up and say, I think I'm going to blow, right? It takes a while to get it to the point where we see it. So there's a lot of smoldering, or in astrological terminology, we would call it waxing or applying. In other words, the buildup before the crescendo. Well, there's been a lot of astrological buildup that we still haven't seen the manifestations of. For example, Pluto back at the same spot that it was when the United States was formed. We're still going to hit that one more time in December. And then with this eclipse at 16 degrees, Uranus is at 16 degrees. Mars next week with that next lunar full moon will be at 16 degrees with the moon. And since we're pointing out 16 degrees today, as you're getting up, Venus is at 16 degrees over in Sagittarius, opposite that Mars by 3 degrees. So these alignments, and really between now and next week's full moon, I think could be interesting energetically. So if you are feeling it, well, we're probably going to, especially as this full moon gets closer and closer toward next Wednesday. And then the Pluto return, that final Pluto return, will be on December 28th. I don't think we've seen the last of Pluto either. So I know a lot of you have been feeling this energy in and out, off and on. Some of you have been feeling it all the way through. Well, Mother Gaia's been feeling it as well, and these are just one of the expressions of many that probably are ahead of us. I think we're going to just continue to watch the sky and watch that which is going on around us with amazement here going forward. It's going to be quite a journey. All right. You guys have a good one. I'm going to get this launched so you can have your coffee and the podcast too. See you tomorrow.